know that we live in a world where everything we do, say, and create is supposed to please the male gaze. Our careers, our lifestyles, our bodies. Patriarchy is always present and always ready to tell you whether you are living your life correctly or incorrectly. And you're supposed to care about what it has to say. And most of us do. I do, obviously. But I also care about other things, like freedom, authenticity, and joy. It's not our fault that we live in a patriarchy. We didn't choose this. It seems that some of our ancestors did. But the problem is, many of us are still actively participating in it. It almost feels impossible not to. We are all just doing our best. But there comes a moment when we all have to ask ourselves, do I want to be happy or do I want to be safe? Do I want to be authentic or do I want to be accepted? Do I want to uncover spiritual knowledge about the human condition or do I just want to be sexy? One thing I can tell you for sure is that I just want to belong. I just want to be loved. And isn't that where it all started? Even patriarchy, even capitalism, even anthropocentrism, even racism. Aren't they all misguided attempts at love and belonging that have caused endless amounts of destruction and trauma? Tonight, I would like to share with you all some of the questions and thoughts about capitalist patriarchy that I have had so far during my so-called transsexual, non-binary lifetime. It all started when Homo sapiens became too smart for our own good. When we developed a very complex sense of self-awareness, the human ego. Maybe around 30,000 to 60,000 years ago. We didn't just need to survive anymore. Now we needed to be happy. And to be happy, we needed to grow. And to grow, we needed to cooperate. And to cooperate, we all needed to participate. And what makes people participate? Believing in the same thing. Having the same goals and needs. So, what became the universal language that facilitated this cooperation and participation? Money and gender. And money got so important to the point that it got confused with happiness. What happens then if some people do not have the same goals and needs as the majority? If they cannot directly contribute to the growth? They are punished and rejected. One such group of people are the queers. Queerness is betrayal to anthropocentric capitalist patriarchy. Heterosexual sex leading to nuclear families is cooperation. Cooperation is survival, growth, and happiness. Capitalism relies on heteronormativity. Capitalism relies on fear of death. Capitalism relies on greed. Capitalist patriarchy is about growth, but it asks us to give away our freedom in exchange for growth, in exchange for safety, in exchange for happiness. But are we happy? Have we found peace? Do we want to grow or do we want to be happy? Can true freedom and happiness ever exist in our modern patriarchal civilization? How do you, as a queer person, stay cooperative in a system that doesn't care about you. In a capitalist world, do people only really care about you when they can get something out of you? Aren't we all supposed to participate in self-commodification? Aren't we all commodities in this collective project of human grandiosity? And if so, why would we want to participate in it? You would think that the goal of capitalism always was to let every individual come to their full potential. Many people believe in this, especially the people that know how to benefit from capitalism. But is this a realistic goal? Have we reached it? And what is the personal and planetary cost of capitalism? The closer human civilization has moved towards earthly domination thanks to capitalism and patriarchy, the less we need to cooperate as individuals. The big corporations do it for us. We don't have to rely on our immediate surroundings as much. Now we can rely on things like nation states, supermarkets, and educational systems. Huge impersonal networks. The less dependent we are on each other on an individual level, the more we can fuck each other over, the more apathetic we can be, the more advantage we can take of each other. Money is what we abide by, and money doesn't have morals. That's why big corporations and people all over the world are destroying the Earth's ecosystems in the name of capitalism. In exchange for capitalism and patriarchy, we get power, safety, and growth. Or at least some of us do. But is that even a good deal? And will it ever be enough? And what about purpose, harmony, or happiness? Capitalism, our collective tool for happiness, has become more important than happiness itself. Why do you really present the way that you do? Why do you really want the kind of life that you want? Why do you actually desire the kinds of people that you do? What is it that you really want? And why do you think you will get it by doing X, Y, or Z? Why are so many of us sexually attracted to people that we have nothing in common with beyond reciprocal lust and fear? Why do I want a boyfriend? Why do I want to have long blonde hair? Why do I want a beardless face and a smooth, shiny pair of legs? Why do I want to be an accomplished and celebrated artist? We become part of capitalist patriarchy because we all need love. We all need to feel like we belong. And that's totally fine. But how do we make the game less painful and more joyful, less normative and more free, less homogeneous and more diverse, less hierarchical and more equal, less destructive to the environment and more ecological? What will it take for us to decolonize our egos from capitalist patriarchy? We fetishize everything around us, including each other, even ourselves. Gender essentialism is fetishization. Gender is a fetish. We are all fetishists, not just the kingsters, not just the chasers. It is an inevitable part of existing in this physical dimension. But maybe we can all be better fetishists, without all the heteronormative shit. Maybe we can stop seeing ourselves and each other as commodities in a sexual marketplace, and instead as complex beings full of multiplicities, potential, joy, and pleasure. Maybe one day, people like me can be loved and desired freely without shame. Patriarchy is inextricably linked to capitalism. Patriarchy is gender capitalism. Patriarchy says that we must capitalize on sex differences by procreating. We must create more and more and more offspring to survive and sustain the anthropocentric project. Every single individual who is able to become pregnant must be socialized to carry out this task. Every single individual who is able to impregnate someone must be socialized to do so, or at least reinforce a society where this is the only correct way to be human. When it comes to discussions around gender and sex, most people can't see the forest for the trees. The gender binary is inherently patriarchal. Inequality was built into it from its conceptual origin. Patriarchy isn't just responsible for the oppression of women and the domination of men. It is responsible for the very concepts, the categories, the social constructs of men and women. The solution is not to fight for or condemn men or women, at least not in the long run. Ultimately, it is to obliterate men and women altogether. If we don't need capitalist patriarchy anymore, then we don't need gender. We don't need that toxic remnant from the past. If you want to participate in gender, you have to deal with the bullshit that comes with it. You can't only have the privileges. You can't have your cake and eat it too. The key to freedom and authenticity is not reforming old structures. It is starting anew. Most people probably think I'm insane for saying all of this. Many people believe I am insane just for being who I am. And they do whatever they can to make me believe that too. And I have to admit, in many ways, they have succeeded. How do you not come to hate the thing about yourself that makes people treat you like shit? When it makes people harass, objectify, and kill you. Under capitalist patriarchy, the question, is that a man or a woman? Is another way of saying, is that person worthy of being here? Because the only way to have a shot at dignity in this world is if you can be a man or a woman. That is why a lot of trans people care so much about gender, pronouns, and body parts. Don't be angry at us. We didn't make the rules. We are just trying to do the same as everyone else. We are just trying to participate in capitalist patriarchy. But someone has got to make it stop. And it seems to fall back on us, trans people. Everyone else is too comfortable in their prison cells. I'm not saying that the cure to capitalist patriarchy is that everyone has to become trans. In a world without capitalist patriarchy, there wouldn't even be a need for the label transgender. I am saying that the goal is that we learn to distinguish our identities from harmful constructs like gender. If this happened, people would continue to be who they naturally are, but without the oppressive hierarchy of gender assigned to them. To make sense of yourself outside of capitalist patriarchy is a challenge for everyone, even for trans people. It starts so early. Why do male children have to have short hair and female children long hair? Probably because we all know that if we allowed all kids to have long or short hair, regardless of their sex, we often wouldn't be able to tell them apart based on gender or sex. And we so desperately want to naturalize gender. The ever-present potential for gender ambiguity has always challenged patriarchy. It is a reminder that gender is less descriptive and more prescriptive than most of us like to believe. Am I woman enough for you? Am I palatable enough? Am I sufficiently legible? Am I useful to you beyond a secret fetish? I wish I could rid myself of these worries and just be free. But in the here and now, I am afraid that the cost of true freedom is loneliness. If I am truly authentic, won't I just alienate everyone around me? How will I survive? What if I take a stand and rid myself of the constructs? What if I become illegible? Capitalist patriarchy is fear of death. It is a fear of not belonging, of not being loved. It is an aggressive attempt at survival, growth, and domination at all costs. But what is survival for survival's sake? What about peace, happiness, and equilibrium? What if capitalist patriarchy is just a necessary and unfortunate step towards those things? What if it's just a phase? Will capitalist patriarchy lead humanity to extinction? Will it take us to outer space? Or is the human survival instinct and intellect so strong that it will lead us to a solution that benefits everyone? Is that even possible? Are our needs and beliefs so irreconcilable that we will split into groups and evolve into new separate species? Will we restore the environment and create a spiritually enlightened, digitally advanced, ecological, post-human, post-gender utopia? What do you think? What do you want?